Lisa, this is Lauren from HU. You're good to go.
Good afternoon, or good morning still, everyone. My name's Lisa Tessler. I'm the Executive Director of Pennsylvania Developmental Disabilities Council. So I want to welcome you to our pop-up session of the Community Alliance Summit. This session will last from 11:30 till 12 o'clock. This is an opportunity for you to get a short introduction to two speakers. And then after lunch, you can then come back and learn more about their work in the follow-up session. So a couple of housekeeping. We would encourage you to use the chat and Q&A function to type in questions or comments during the presentation. We love discussion, so please make sure you use that feature. If you would like to speak, you can ask to be unmuted by raising your hand on the bottom of your screen. And to view the full schedule, you can go back to the website to click on track 1 or track 2. And at the end of the 2 days, you will be sent a survey to help with the evaluation. So with that, I am going to turn the session over to Gina, who will introduce herself and start off this pop-up session. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me today. My name is Gina Sincata, and I'm the curriculum coordinator for KenCrest, and I mostly work with adults with intellectual disabilities. My background is in education. I've worked in all areas within education, children, daycares, teenagers, older adults. My bachelor's from the University of the Arts in Philly, and I have my master's in education. Currently working on my master's in business, so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to share some, am I allowed to share my screen to a PowerPoint? I'd like to do that so that I can show you some of the things we've done during COVID shutdowns for our adults with intellectual disabilities. It's not letting me share my screen.
Gina, one moment. I'll give you the rights right now.
Thank you. Perfect. This will give you a little visuals so that you can see some of the things. I have some really cool visuals that we made and that we did during COVID. So I hope you guys enjoy some of these things. Okay, so what we did to recover, rebuild, and reform, some of the things we did during COVID was to, for recovery, we did a lot of technology, of course. I'm sure that everyone's familiar with that. It made us very flexible in how we supported our adults. And how we rebuilt was to use digital, of course, because it was super safe and we could all still enjoy each other and support each other, even though we were separated. We also created a lot of new programs, and I'm going to show you some examples of that. And for reform, I think we had to rethink how we do things permanently, and it came with a lot of good discovery. Okay, so for recover, the meaning of the word recover is to return to a normal state of mind. So what did we lose, right? When everything shut down for COVID, what did we lose? I'm sure we all felt like we lost something, and we assumed that it would all go back to normal. But I think we really quickly as a company decided that we needed answers fast, and we began the recovery by being super flexible and using technology for that. So we use technology by holding the trainings and holding all of our meetings remotely, just like we're doing here, of course. And it meant that we needed to train the staff to be proficient in those technologies, because just because you are a staff that might bring your adult out into community, or a staff that might help at an adult at home, doesn't mean that they're really good with technology. So we all, and everyone had to uh, brush up minimally on our technology skills and practice, practice, practice. So it really changed how our vision of teamwork could be. We were mixing with groups that we hadn't before. And to just be super flexible, very flexible, more than I thought we were. I thought we were flexible. And then this just totally brought out how creative and flexible we can be. So we changed the framework around how we support people that go out in the communities. We had to do it in different ways. We had to do it with less people so that we minimize some of the exposure to COVID, of course. And the technology allowed us to work together in a way that I never thought possible, and it has really worked out for us. So as a company, we've been very interactive within departments that I didn't even think we used. So it's been very positive for us as a company to use everything and everyone's creativity that we had. Okay, so how we've rebuilt, again, let's define rebuild, to build something again. We're assuming that everything got destroyed, right? Everything got shut down, and all the clients and all the adults are at home in the initial lockdown. And I think for a lot of people, it was pretty scary. So we created some new programs and used digital services that we all have at our fingertips to make that happen. Some of these new programs, and I'll walk through some of these. They're really exciting. We designed something called happiness deliveries. I'll explain that. We used remote activities, obviously, through things like Zoom and GoToMeeting. We also included an activity website we never had before. We sent home or to the offices some of the daily activities in a packet that we never did. And we also created a safety committee. So I'll discuss the details of each one of these in just a second. So here's how we did the safety committee. We did weekly team meetings, of course, online like this. We used a safety precaution toolkit. So we created a toolkit with the help of some nursing staff to make it very safe so that our adults could go out in the community or do whatever they needed to do and still stay safe. And we made sure we knew their vaccination status when that came available at the beginning of this year. So there is different sections of this that didn't happen all at once, of course. We recommended community participation very safely, and we had some of the team members present to us so that we made sure that their situation was very safe, or as safe as humanly possible. And we did look at each circumstance very specifically, and it was very person-centered, what that person wanted to do. We tried to make it as safe as possible for them. So to rebuild, we did some of those remote activities, and this was the structure of the online remote activities. So there was 3 types. Kind of like 3 systems we used when everyone got locked down before the vaccines were available. So last year, some of the sessions worked better at home. So that bottom part of the screen there, if you were at home and you have 3 individuals that live with you, 3 roommates, or even your friends, if you live at home with your parents or you live with your sister, wherever you live, if they all like to watch Philly games together, they like to make cookies, we would invent a group class for that. So if they all wanted to watch the Philly game together, we would provide that for them and make sure that they had the fun that they would normally have done out in the community. We just did it home a little safer. Group classes, that was accessible through a website. So you'd have to, just like me and you would, we would register through a website and you signed up for a class that would be provided by a certified instructor. And I tried to make the classes as easy and fun and also educational as the individuals wanted. So they, I work with adults, so the classes had to be what they wanted. And it's really fun. I'll show you examples of some of the classes we made. And we also did remote phone calls or remote chat. We used FaceTime and our phones because some of our individuals have phones. So the phone calls and the remote chats work really well, especially if you're very close to that individual and you know a lot about them. It was really fun to call them and do some remote chats. Okay, some of the activities that we offered on those online classes. Oh my gosh, so much bingo. Everyone loves the bingo class because, well, it's not a class, it's a bingo game. There's prizes, so it's so much fun. Everybody really likes going to bingo. The personality quiz is really fun too. We just bring it up on the screen and everybody gets to participate. The cooking class, you can watch the cooking class, but most people have the cooking ingredients at their house. So it's like common things you'd have in your house anyway. So the cooking class is fun. I run the drawing class and we have such a good time with the drawing class. I'll show you some examples of that. The greenhouse tour is one of the tours of a greenhouse that we have as a company. So one of our staff is there every Tuesday, and she walks everyone through a learning activity that she would have normally shown at the greenhouse if we could do it. She just does it online. So we continued with a lot of things we did in person. We just tried to do it through the computer. This is a screenshot of what it likes to register for class. So the classes are listed on a website that everyone has access to, and you can register for one class or the whole week, doesn't matter. You would just click on the link and everyone can register for class. This is a screenshot of the activities website, and this is just up there for anyone to look at any time. There is videos to watch that are educational and or fun. There's a ton of recipes, a lot of art projects. There's some literary options. There's a lot of health. I put a lot of links to really good health related websites. So this is always up there. I'm constantly adding to it as much as I can. Okay, so how did we reform when everything seems to be kind of permanent now? How did we keep these changes? And I think for me, it was that we continued the new programs and just the constant discovery. We have a lot of really good things that came out of this. So in order to continue new programs, I think we need to keep a lot of them. I mean, there's a discovery of a lot of new skills that even I discovered a lot of my skills, the individuals too. A lot of our support staff have discovered that they can do a lot of things, that they're more flexible than they thought they were. And we're looking to reduce some of those one-on-one support. So that's something that we'll look through constantly. As far as metrics and how we've measured how well we've done, we'd like to increase our community hours, get everyone out in the community more often. And for increasing the participants, maybe people that were, maybe they were retired, but maybe we can still bring them out to Wendy's and have a good time at a park. And we also do a weekly discussion. We've been talking a lot more than we did before, I think. And the toolkit that will ensure that, now in spite of your vaccination, to make sure that everyone is still safe and keep our individuals as safe as we possibly can. And, it's a delicate balance to balance that safety with what you want to do out in the world. It's a delicate balance to assume for people. Here are some of the activities we've done online. These are some examples of the drawing class, and I specifically tailor the curriculum to be non-gendered, to have relevant art skills, something they can repeat later when I'm not around, and also some open-ended projects that they can do, that anyone can do when I'm not there with you. You can still do it and you can be successful at your project. Your project doesn't have to look like mine. And also your project has to include supplies that you would typically have in your house. So nothing special you've got to go shopping for. So these are some examples of the drawing class. This is what an activity packet looks like, and the activity packet gets sent via email to anyone. So sometimes the staff want it for themselves and they use it for their individuals. Sometimes some of our admins will distribute it among our locations. Some people print them out, so it's totally up to them. I just distribute this to every single person. So it includes what to do for the day. It's every single day, Monday through Friday. And it includes things that would be in the house that would be cost effective, things that can be achievable and relevant. A few more examples here, just some activities that are in that packet, some recipes, some fun things, some music, some science. So that gets emailed every morning. And just to wrap it all up today, we have made some permanent changes that they're awesome. We're really excited about it and how we've used technology to make things a lot better and to keep the new programs that we have created, and we'll continue them forever. So thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gina. And now we'll hear from Monica. She's going to talk about CASA.
Hi, everyone. I was not going to show a PowerPoint, but if it's okay, could I do it? Let's see if I can share my screen. I don't think I have the option. No worries. It's okay if I can't. I can talk without pictures. Okay.
Monica, I just gave you access, so you should be able to share your screen.
Oh, great. Hold on one second. Ah, it's asking me to do something that I don't know how to do, but that's okay. I can just not do it. It's asking me to go into my settings, but that's all right. No worries, because I can just talk. So, Casa San Jose is a nonprofit organization. We are located in the South Hills in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we opened our doors in 2013. And Casa started because of the growing number of Latinos that were settling here in this region. And so Pittsburgh, although it is a city that it was built by immigrants and has always been a city of immigrants, just kind of wasn't ready for the new wave of immigrants that were coming. And so Casa does things from like anything from helping people read their mail to teaching people how to ride the bus to getting them resources, throughout the city. And so we were pretty busy doing that already before COVID, and then COVID hit. And so, we had to change a lot of our programming. Even though we weren't physically in the office for several months, there was still a way where you could call, and that call would then get transferred to the appropriate person, just as if you had walked in. One of the things that we noticed from the beginning was that many of our families that we work with didn't qualify for the stimulus or unemployment. And so we had to think of ways to help meet the needs of the community. And the first thing that we did was we became a food pantry, which we had never done before, and which will continue to be. At that time, we were serving about 1,000 families per month. Now we are currently serving about 300. So again, that's something that came out of it. We saw the need. Obviously, there still is a need, and so we want to continue to do that. The other big thing that we saw was the need for the children. So the vast majority of the families that we serve didn't have internet access. They were just getting internet from their phones. And so when school went online, we had to help people get internet in their home, which is really hard when you don't speak the language and you might not have all of the documentation that might be required in order to connect internet, right? If your lease isn't in your name, or if you don't have a bill that's in your name, it just gets even harder and harder. And so we had somebody dedicated to doing that. There were some situations where people could not get internet. And so we even still currently pay for hotspots. We bought laptop computers for the youth so that we can continue our youth programming. And we were able to have a successful online camp last year where we had 50 of our youth participate in summer camp virtually. This year, we did have our summer camp and we were able to have 60 kids. And it's 2 days online and then 2 days in person. And then the other major thing that we were doing during COVID was really trying to get the information about COVID out to our community. And so it is unfortunate, but the health department, it took them 16 months. I'm sorry, 14 months, 14 months to get us one thing in Spanish. So by the time they were giving us information about COVID, we were already working on vaccine education. And so it really, Casa had to really take on the work of our government because we were really let down, um, uh, by our government, not only there, but, again, we also were able to raise $1 million in 3 months, and we gave our own stimulus to our families. It wasn't kind of like what everybody else got, but we were able to give $700, a one-time $700 payment to an entire family, not just to an individual. And that was, around this time last year, maybe a little bit before. And so, that it obviously wasn't enough, but Casa has really been able to pivot what we've been doing so that we can meet the immediate rising needs of the community, as well as advocating at the same time, so that if and when other supports come through, that our families will be able to receive them. And then also trying to be a little proactive. So, if things start to get worse, uh, or continue on the path that we're on right now, we're a little more prepared for it. We do have a COVID vaccine clinic at our office on Tuesdays. You can get the vaccine, and on Fridays, you can get tested for COVID. And again, with our community, it was very difficult because there wasn't information on COVID that was readily available to them. And so they did not take it seriously. And so, they were affected at a higher rate than other communities. Um, and what else was I going to say? Yeah, we're just really trying to make sure that we're continuing to meet the needs of our communities as best as we can. We are back in the office. Half of the staff is there 2 days a week, and then the other half of the staff is there the other 2 days a week. And we are making sure, again, that we are giving everybody accurate information about the vaccine so that people can make educated decisions on whether or not they want to get the vaccine. And we are also not seeing anyone in person unless they have the vaccine. And that is because many of us, myself included, have small children at home that can't get the vaccine. And I would not want to bring that home to my family. My little son that's 11 already had COVID once, and I do not want him to get it again. So we're just trying to be extra careful with what we're doing, but we really, we opened extra sites during COVID around the city and actually in different counties because we saw that there's a larger Latino population growing outside of Allegheny County. And if we're always complaining that we don't have enough resources where we are, just imagine what it's like the further that you go out. So that's all I'll say for now. And I'd be really happy to talk more later and answer more questions.
Well, thank you both Gina and Monica for sharing information about your organization with all of us here at the Community Alliance Summit. For those of you who have not been involved in the summit in the past, the pop-up talks are opportunities for you to learn a little bit about an organization and their approach and what their work is in the community. And so now after lunch break, you will have the opportunity to come back and have longer discussions and conversations with both Gina and Monica. And so after lunch, you will be able to think of, new questions, conversations around their organizations, their work, and their communities. So we have about 5 minutes. So Gina or Monica, if you have anything else you want to add before the lunch break, or if anyone has a quick question, we can take questions through the Q&A and the chat feature.
Hi, this is Gina again. Someone did put in a question in the chat. Did you find any barriers to using technology to interact with your clients? The barriers that we hit right away was setting up the technology, making sure they had good internet, making sure they had a tablet or a laptop, and training the staff to help the adult if they needed any help, to mute or unmute, to sit in front of the camera. It was a totally different way of interacting that took some time to train both the staff and the individuals. In the end, we have about 25 to 30 really regular people that attend our classes, so they've gotten used to it. They're happy to see our faces every day. It's more of a routine now, but at first it was very difficult. It took a long time to get even the staff to understand, hey, we're going to do this virtually, like FaceTime. And I think it took a while for people to understand it. So we pushed through.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, so I did see a chat asking about Miles, who is from Colors, the Colors organization in Philadelphia. Miles wasn't able to join us today, so he was not able to be here for this session. So what we're going to do is after lunch, we'll have 2 sessions. Track 1 will be with Gina, or I don't know which track is going to be which. I will turn this over to Harrisburg University for that, to share that information with us. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a lunch break now. It's almost 12 o'clock. And then after lunch at 12:45, we will come back and have a longer time to speak with either Gina or Monica. And you can go to the harrisburgu.edu website for the Community Alliance Summit and then link to either track 1 or track 2 to have more in-depth conversations with Gina and Monica. I'm looking. Is there any other additional information we need to give the audience at this time?
This is Lauren from HU. I think you've covered it.
All right. Well, great. Thanks, everyone. Have a great lunch break, and we will see you at 12:45.